This is Lemons Car Spotting. You post to Instagram with the hashtag Lemons Car Spotting. We pick the hooptiest.
They are so incredibly terrible.
And which one we want to become a real Lemons build.
It does car-like things. We've been pushing for one of those in Lemons too, and those are very affordable.
Hey there, it's Eric and Nick. We are here to do some Lemons car spotting. You guys know the drill by now. You see some crap on the street, take a picture of it. You post that on Instagram with the hashtag Lemons car spotting, and we talk about it. That's pretty much it. Nick's going to bring you in and let you know about our amazing selection process and the two winners of Lemons car spotting each week.
That's right. We have two winners, the hooptiest, which is just the hooptiest, and the Lemons car build, which is the car we want to see actually race in Lemons. And in order to select that, I've got the Lemons build here and the hooptiest. Eric, close your eyes. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
That is the hooptiest. You will be selecting the hooptiest. I will be selecting the Lemons car build. And let us get into it.
Boom.
What do we got this week?
Oh yeah.
It's an Omni Ryzen. Now, a couple of things about the good old either Plymouth Horizon or Dodge Omni. I'm sure in the comments you will be able to tell us exactly what the differences are between the two. This, of course, was a captive import sold by Chrysler, based on a Simca. A lot of people mistakenly think this is a K car. It is not. It's a weird French car, some of which had Volkswagen engines in it. So yeah, there you go. That's Chrysler in a nutshell. I will say that I went to high school with a girl who had one of these, and it was like ex-Forest Service, and it was this mint green color. And I felt bad because I don't think she was really in on the joke. It was just like the car that she drove. And then one day we're sitting there in class, and all of a sudden the fire department shows up, and it turned out her Omni Ryzen had burst into flames sitting by itself in the parking lot. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that Simca was involved. There's also Talbot DNA, which is English car, so
right.
Roots Group. So
Roots Group, yeah.
I mean, it is Roots Group, French car, and Chrysler, which is kind of like, you know, man, I can't think of a great. It's like the Bee Gees, like a great trio, you know.
You know, I was thinking of some of those like Creole dishes where historically it was like, oh, well, these are all the scraps that are the poor cuts of meat, and you know, that's what's left over for the people that don't have as much money. And then over the years, they've turned it into this incredible traditional and, you know, delicious dish. I think Chrysler is still waiting for that second phase to happen, but they've got the crappy parts mixed together for no reason. They've got that going for them.
Yeah, one of my favorite, and this is a Horizon, by the way. It's got to be like a late one. And one of my favorite parts about this and the Chevette is that they were both built until like 1989. You know?
I.e. past the point where we should have known better.
Yeah, 100%.
Boy. Well, I guess you can lavamos su carro where it's parked. It's getting detailed, or what's the deal?
I mean, it looks like it's in remarkably good shape.
Yeah, maybe he's getting ready for Pebble. All right, moving on. Oh, boy. Man, two-door Ford Explorer. So I think I have told this story on this channel before, but my good friend Evan, he said, hey, man, I really want to get a 300ZX, like a Z32 with T-tops. That's my dream car. And I was like, yeah, man, do it. And he came back with a 5-speed two-wheel drive T4 Ford Explorer. And it's like, that is so not a 300ZX.
No, not really at all. I got to say the wheels on this one, kind of hella sweet. I dig that.
Yeah, we've got some stylization. Do those also get used on Rangers of the same era?
Yeah, probably. They got like I will be a little more politically correct, but they look like deer hooves a little bit, I guess, imprinted on there.
Yeah, sounds good.
The proportions on these have always been weird to me. I don't
really
know.
Short, and let me tell you, that does not help the stability. I remember one time exiting a freeway like normal people in my friend's two-door Explorer, and we hit a bump and almost died.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Oh God, the good old car on top of a car. Is that a Lanos?
That is a Daewoo Lanos MFer. Man.
What movie is that from?
Oh, Pineapple Express.
Yeah. Obviously, somebody on the writing staff had some weird connection to the Daewoo Lanos and wrote an entire scene based on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Korea's finest, short-lived in the U.S.
We haven't had one of these in Lemons. We've had a new Bira and we've had a Laganza, but we haven't had a Lanos yet. So it could be you. You could be the first.
You're likely to win an award. You could do a 2-car team with a first-generation wood grain Caravan.
There you go. There's also a sweet town car in the back.
I know. Man.
It's a magic junkyard.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Oh, back into our wheelhouse of just generic and weird General Motors SUV / minivan. This appears to be a Pontiac Transport.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no!
This is a Montana, I believe.
Oh, my bad.
It's hard to. Maybe it is. I don't know where the crossover was between.
You're right. So it's the same car, or it occupies the same place in the market. It's the U body, I believe.
Yeah.
And it started out as the Transport because that sounded vaguely Star Trek, and it looked vaguely Star Trek. 10 years after that would have been cool, as is par for the GM course.
Right.
But then they changed it to Montana, and that was, the Toyota Tacoma era, where you take something vaguely cool sounding and make it into your vehicle name. I feel like Montana is a nicer place than Tacoma. I don't know.
Yeah.
Comments.
I have I knew a 3-piece band that toured in a Pontiac, Montana, and they left it parked on the street, as you do in Chicago, and didn't have all their gear in it, but it totally got stolen. So somebody's running around with the band Grinner's Pontiac, Montana, which has probably crashed into a light pole actually, and had the VIN sheared off it.
Yeah.
One thing I've always found bizarre about these cars is they have this weird intentional panel gap over the fuel door, and it's like it's the track for the door, but it looks so bizarre, and it's so obvious that it's there.
Well, as a by proxy Previa owner, I'll say that the Previa, at least several of the trim levels, actually are two-tone. They go, or there's body color, then in the middle is black, and like the pillars and everything are black, and then the roof is body color again. And one of the things that accomplishes is it hides the track in the black zone, which is like the kind of attention to detail that you definitely don't get from the Pontiac Montana.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, this is the classic, Toyota's doing this, so we should probably do the same thing. And we built a weird looking van too, and now we've tried to pull that back a lot, and now everything just looks super awkward and terrible.
Yeah. Yep. Can't say much more than that. All right, moving on. Oh God. What in the Springfield, Ohio is happening here?
Oh, that's a slam dunk all around. It's got the dog dish wheels and wheel spats, I guess.
Yeah, fake Laker pipes. So we've discussed this before. The PT Cruiser is nostalgia for people hearkening back to a time that never really existed and certainly didn't exist for them. These are the guys that wanted to be the cool kid with the hot rod in high school, but never were that kid. They got beat up by the kid with the hot rod. And, in the defense of people like that, they went on to be perfectly successful and normal members of society, while the hot rod people, they burned out and wound up in jail.
Right.
But now that these dork ass people that used to get beat up by the cool hot rod people want to relive that, then it just doesn't come out right. And that explains so much of the PT Cruiser experience, especially the custom PT Cruiser experience as you see here.
Oh, There's nothing else to add. That's exactly everything.
Yeah. Well, thank you to Garage Heroes in Training, Lemons Racers, and podcast hosts for submitting that. That's a good one. All right.
Oh, wow.
Baby. Well, in case you weren't sure for some reason, this post is in fact tagged as being in Berkeley, California.
Yeah.
Ah, man. Well, Mercedes diesel. Looks like all of them are 123s except for the blue one?
The blue one might be a 116, but I'm not super up on it.
I actually kind of can't really tell about the sedan that's parked between the two wagons, what generation that is. In any case, yeah.
I'm impressed by their dedication to beige. That's impressive in its own way.
Yeah, the blue one is like, the weird member of the family. Like, the kid who's like different than everybody else somehow.
Which in Berkeley means he's normal, I think.
Right?
Yeah,
which means in Berkeley he's studying to be like a finance expert.
He goes to baseball games, things like that.
Yeah. I just think these cars are overrated. I know I'm going to get flamed on the internet for saying that, but Jay owned a W123 wagon, 300 TD, non-turbo, and everybody talks about the build quality. And first of all, it's made out of like, 1/4-inch plate, which is a form of build quality, but like it doesn't take a lot of finesse. Like anybody can make a car out of 1/4-inch plate and it's going to feel pretty solid. Obviously the downside is the car then weighs 18,000 pounds and has some crappy ass diesel that just makes it a hazard to traffic when you're trying to accelerate. They're known for reliability, but like all German cars, it's like, yeah, the engine will probably run for a long time, but then meanwhile, everything else will nickel and dime you to death. I just, there are plenty of crappy little Japanese cars that are a lot more durable than this with a lot less fuss. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Good friend of mine had one of these that he did the veggie oil conversion on. I went to a baseball game of all things, and like trying to merge on 9094 in Chicago with the top speed on the car is roughly 49 miles per hour, and it takes 12 years to get there. So we almost got run the hell over, but that's where the plate steel build quality comes in, is because
when you get rear-ended by a Silverado at 80 miles an hour, you're more likely to survive. And I would submit that avoiding such an accident is maybe a better course of action. I had a 1978 Toyota pickup with a 20R around the same time that Jay had his 300 TD, and man, it made the truck look like a marginally faster truck. So anyway, there you go. Speaking of trucks, what in the world?
That is a DJ5, which I think is the mail van. It's been radwoodized, I guess.
It looks. Is that like a Wrangler grill, like a YJ Wrangler grill that's been, I have to say, expertly integrated into the DJ5 Postal Jeep styling package?
Yeah, boy, yeah. The more I look at it, everything's wrong about it.
It almost looks, factory to whatever extent DJ5s are.
Well, the one thing you can count on with the internet is that there's a Jeep guy somewhere who can tell us in the comments why we're stupid, wrong, and probably a homosexual. So, I mean,
probably.
These are things that can happen.
We encourage that. Tell us what's going on with the car and with our personal lives.
Yeah, exactly. There is one of these is painted bright orange with green stripes that drives around the place I lived last year, and it is the mosquito abatement truck. And so it's always driving like 10 miles an hour with the guys
all over the place,
sitting in the right seat, driving while he's looking down in the gutters for all of the potential mosquito nests. And so it's just mosquito abatement across the back of it. It's pretty great.
You can picture the lawsuit now of that guy when he has 18 different kinds of cancer. He's on the stand like, well, sir, describe what your occupation was. Well, have you ever heard of a Jeep DJ5?
Yeah.
So,
I drove around in a box with all of the chemicals.
yeah. Instead of delivering mail, I was delivering death. All right. Here we go. What the? Oh, man. This is right in Phil's wheelhouse. Known Korean car aficionado. This appears to be an Optima with a custom paint job.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know what to say about this. I mean, I have this theory about Korean cars, much like Phil does.
Yeah.
And this one's in Wisconsin, which is kind of great. But there's Hyundais and Kias from this era still around, like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
There are Hyundais from within the last 10 years around on the road. There is nothing in between. Like, think of the last time you saw like a 2008 Elantra. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Once these cars are out of warranty at the 10-year, 100,000-mile mark, because they have the warranty, they just go away. They disappear. They're gone forever. But they're not in junkyards. They are just somewhere.
But then what you're saying is then they reappear if there's 20-year-old ones that so is that like the car was dead and then finally Uncle Bob said, hey, I can fix that car. All it needs is the dang starter.
It's one of two things. Yeah, it is Uncle Bob hits the starter with a rock a bunch and then it goes. Or before they had the warranty, the build quality was actually good and the cars lasted. And then they're like, we can do this warranty and build shit now. So.
Interesting theory. I like it. Tell us what your perceptions of the Korean car industry are down in the comments.
The one exception to that is always the Hyundai Santa Fe. Those things are everywhere still. That is the one thing that I still see from like the mid 2000s.
That's probably the car that like really chaps General Motors execs ass. Like you know, they've made 18 different SUVs that you never see on the road, and then you know, there's Santa Fe's everywhere. And the guys are probably like, "Why are there damn Santa Fe's and you haven't seen an Envision in weeks? What's wrong with us?" All right. And in the Korean vicinity, what is that, a Tiburon?
That is a Tiburon.
So these had as an option a little like a 2.7-ish liter V6. And one of our most prominent Lemons racers that races a Korean car. What's the name of that team? They've got the Kim Jong-il themed Elantra. It's like a Elantra.
The Deer Leader car. Yeah, I don't know.
Follow-up Deer Leader. So they've got this 2000 Elantra, and for their last race at Thunderhill, they swapped in a 2.7 Tiburon motor, which apparently they read on the internet that it was possible, and they just went for it. And I think it actually ran pretty well.
Yeah. Man, Tiburon. This one's got mismatched wheels, worth pointing out, by the way.
Yeah, sure does. The ones in the back are better, I must say.
Yeah. The other ones are like the Walmart version of 5 spokes. Yeah.
All right, final car for this week. Now, oh boy, is it a Lumina?
That is definitely a Lumina.
Man, you know, that's one of those cars, as much as we talk a lot of trash about anonymous GM SUVs, GM anonymous sedans, you know, they're not good, mind you, but they're always a little better than you think they're going to be. And I feel like the Lumina is probably pretty comfortable. I bet you the AC works really well. It's got 3800 V6 that probably is decently reliable and decently powerful. I mean, it's a sensible machine. So I don't know. I don't have much bad to say about the good old Lumina.
Well, I think most of these had the 3100.
Oh.
And I got 2 things about these cars. One is this was my driver's ed car when I was in high school. We had a white Lumina.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything else about it other than it was the car that I had to drive. It was fine. It was. I was 6 or 15. I didn't know what a good car was, so it was fine. And I driven my mom's Taurus, which was, of course, the direct competitor to this. And as much as I could tell at 15, they were. The Taurus was probably slightly better. But the other thing to note on these and the similar round Monte Carlos is that in the Midwest, at least, or in the Rust Belt, they all have the exact same rust pattern right under the fuel door. And they all look identical. It's like an identical shape. So some stamping on the fender had the same weak spot in the clear coat from however it was built and however it was assembled and however it was painted. And they all rusted in the exact same place. So driving around the Midwest, you will see Monte Carlos and Luminas with the exact same pattern of rust. It's kind of remarkable in its own way.
Yeah, and let me just say, it's kind of hard to make out from this photo, but it doesn't look good in that area that you just described on this particular car either. So.
Yeah, this one definitely has it. And maybe this one's worse and has kind of stretched back towards the tail light. But
although, it's funny, I just realized this is obviously an advertising machine for a body shop, and the what they're trying to show is that, before it's just a regular Lumina with the rust under the gas door, and after it's this totally sweet custom rainbow mobile. I think that it would be more effective and probably more fun if either the back or the left side or whatever, one side of the car was just totally wrecked and the other side was perfect. That would be kind of a fun exercise as well.
Yeah, even a single color from the B pillar ahead probably would be slightly more effective at what they're trying to do. But it's their business. They do what they.
I also like the notion that this body shop that's all they do, is that whenever you take your car in, it comes out rainbow.
But only on the front half.
Yeah, you only have one choice, and it's rainbow.
Oh man.
All right, well, let's get to our awards. Once again, we have 2 awards: the Hooptiest, which is self-explanatory, and the Lemons Car Build, which is the car we want to actually see in a Lemons race. Eric, I believe you've got the Hooptiest this week.
Yeah, it's awfully tempting to dump on the PT Cruiser with the custom wheel spats and whatever other horrible things were happening with that car. But I'm not going to dump on it this time, and I'm going to go with, there was a lot of Korean stuff going on this week with 2 Kia, a Hyundai, but the Daewoo Lanos, I think, takes the cake here for me as the hooptiest thing. Not just because of the condition it's in, but because it's a Daewoo Lanos.
And the condition is pretty poor. Well, for the second week in a row, I am going to have to say that the Daewoo Lanos is also the Lemons Car Build. Why? Because we've never seen one in Lemons. We're always coming up with these lists, and racers ask us, like, what haven't you seen and what do you want to see? And that's a shrinking and ever shrinking list. Every year, at least a couple of cars get knocked off the list. Daewoo Lanos, as of June 2021, when we're recording this, still hasn't happened. So if you want to be a superstar and show up with a car that we've never seen in a Lemons race, Daewoo Lanos, there for the taking.
Yeah, do whatever you want to it. We don't care. It will be amazing.
0 laps, swap the motor, do whatever you want. It's a loop.
There you go.
All right, that'll do it for this episode of Car Spotting. Keep tagging your photos on Instagram with Lemons Car Spotting, and we'll find them. And until next week, happy hunting.
Man, what do you think that color is called?
Oh, you know that it's like Pyeongchang Silverleaf Metallic. That's going to be horribly offensive to certain Koreans, probably.